for me after their idols. God knows what's in here, but this confirms the word I prophesied at the beginning. They shall even bear their iniquity. So he's saying it's the people's fault and it's the priest's fault. It's all of you. You're all guilty. Verse 11. This is concerning the Levites. Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house, only the outer court. Only the outer court. See, nobody teaches this or says anything about this. But from this day on, the Levites were only allowed to minister in the outer court. They didn't go in the holy place or the Holy of Holies anymore. Anymore. Up until the day of Jesus. You shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house, and ministering to the house. They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice. That's outside, see? It's in the outer court. The brazen altar. That's the place of 30-fold for the people. And they shall stand before them to minister unto them. So he kind of put them all out there together. Because they were all guilty together, so they're all just going to, this is your portion. This is just. Because they ministered unto them before their idols. See, the priests were ministering to the people instead of to God. They forgot their function. We've got the whole reason for their appointing. The whole purpose for their existence. They started catering to the needs and wants of the people instead of God. Does it sound like seeker-friendly church, watered down grace, false grace church today? That you have to cater to the people. You got to keep the people happy, please the people, give them what they want, and they'll keep coming. Give them what they want, and they'll keep supporting you. What happens if you don't give them what they want? They pack their bags and move on to the next church. I'm serious, though. It's called the Great Migration in the Pentecostal church. We've watched it over and over and over. Might as well put a revolving door on the front. But see, it's both fault. The people blame the leadership, and the leadership blames the people. I've been in those meetings. Okay. It's like, point your finger at yourself. Well, we're all guilty. Because they ministered unto them before their idols and caused the house of Israel to fall. So is that going to build a church that's going to stand when we minister and give the people what they want? No, that's called a Saulish church. Because Saul was the will of the people, not the will of God. David was the will of God. David chose men that didn't look too good. They didn't even act too good. They were rough around the edges. The house of Israel to fall into iniquity. Therefore have I lifted up my hand against them, saith Lord God, and they shall bear their iniquity. You see, I can't make up this 11 and 7, okay? And I can't make up the 44. I didn't know they fit together. 11, God deals with the Levites, and in 17, he speaks to the Zadoks. You understand? This is how God does with me. He plays this little game all the time of cat and mouse and connect the dots and, hide and seek, piece by piece, and then you have to, put it together by faith. And they shall not come near unto me to do the office of a priest unto me. Why? Because they weren't anyway. And he knew what was in their hearts. And they were elected, chosen by the people because they would give the people what they wanted. So it was not in their heart to give God what he wanted. Which is, I'm telling you, outreach always has to come before outreach. You can have a church that all they are is about outreach. They can have the greatest food pantry and the greatest hunger drive and do all this stuff and go out on the streets all the time, but are they giving God what he wants? Outreach precedes outreach. That doesn't say you don't have outreach, because you do. But it's an overflow out of your relationship with him. You have a relationship with each other. Right? If I don't spend time with him, I got nothing to give you. That's the honest truth. You don't need more than me. I'm sick of me. I can't imagine what you... Try living with me 24 hours a day. There's a reason Sharon's going on. What? said, uh-huh. Who do you think you are? Look in the mirror. Reflection. Reflect on that for a minute, Sean. And they shall not come near unto me to do the office of a priest unto me, nor to come near to any of my holy things in the most holy place. Okay, Issachar, I'm talking to you. You are an Issachar people, you know that. We are. In the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed. And I will make them keepers of the charge of the house for all the service thereof and for all that shall be done therein. He's speaking about the outer court. They don't get to do the holy place stuff or the Holy of Holies. But the priest, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me. And they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith the Lord God. Did you know there was a priesthood within a priesthood? Within the Levites, there were the Zadoks. They were the ones in the shadows. They were the ones in the Holy and Holy of Holies that weren't seen by the people. They're the ones that were hidden. The ones that had been concealed for another time, for another day. Their heart, they could care less what the people thought. Their job, their whole being was about ministering and taking care of God and His things. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table. Wow, this is what I want to be. To minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. It's verse 17. Are you ready? Zadoks, Issachars, Davids. And it shall come to pass. If God said it's going to come to pass, I believe it will. Write it down. Nothing that He said won't happen. That when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments, and no wool shall come upon them, while they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. That's what I want. I want that inner ministry. I want that holy place in the Holy of Holies. I want those linen garments. You know what that means? Why they wore linen? So they wouldn't sweat. In other words, work it out in their own strength and power and ability. See, out in the outer court, it's all about flesh. They're working hard. They're sweating. They're toiling. It's hard. But when you enter in, the inner ministry, the inner courts, it becomes easier. Because it's a flow. It's an anointing. He does it through you. And then when you go into the Holy of Holies, there's no more you. You are just engulfed, inflamed with His presence, overshadowed with His glory. And it's all Him. And all you are just along for the ride. Because it's I heard Charlie teach on this in Africa several years ago. I started teaching. He was doing it in a church. Above the mercy seat, when God would manifest and the high priest would step in, a portal would open. The supernatural realm would open up, and the high priest would go. This is what they taught in preschool in the day. The high priest would actually step up called up into the presence, into this portal, and be transported back on the timeline to the very beginning. And he would offer that blood for Israel. And it would cover them as if they'd never sinned. Yeah. So for another year, in the eyes of God, they had never sinned. Because of the offering of the high priest. So there's a portal that opens up like a cloud. It was like the glory cloud, the Shekinah glory of God manifested. You're exactly right, Rex. That's exactly what it is. It's called the Merkabah. Captain Walters teaches on that. You know what that is in Hebrew, that word, Merkabah? The chariot of God. The transportation, supernatural transportation device. Merkaba is real. It's like a portal, it's a transportation. Glory. Fame. Guess what? This new month, Eor, the month of Issachar, starts tonight at 6. Guess what? The sign is, it's the Merkaba. It's the month of the chariot of God. When we're to translate and be transported, that's why you saw that this morning, see? See, you can't make this stuff up. I haven't taught this stuff yet. I just learned this stuff last week. So I was studying. Kathy Waters talks about it all the time. In her meetings, the chariots come. You can get on the chariot, take a chariot ride. It's all a portal opening up. It's angelic. It's, Ezekiel saw the four living creatures, the wheels within the wheels. That's what's transporting the chariot. His throne is carried. His throne moves. Carried. By these seraphim, cherubim. But see, this is all inner court stuff. The people don't see this. Everybody in the outer court, they don't see this. They don't even hear it. They don't even know what's going on. God speaks and they just think it thundered. All they hear is some thunder. The priest on the inside hears his voice. And they hear what he's saying. You have ears to hear. He amazes me. Every time I start talking, I say stuff I don't even know I know. Because I don't know. I love it. I love it. I'm more amazed than you are. Trust me. I'm like, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, I'm trying. You be the smart one here. See, we have ministers that stand in pulpits and think they're so smart. They're smarter than everybody else. They think they know more because they studied more. And the spirit of pride is in them. And even when they do teach, it's out of the wrong spirit. And it shall come, how you can tell is because they draw attention to themselves. Even if they say they're not, they are. It shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, the Zadoks. You understand Zadok, the word Zadok? Probably don't, but it starts with the Zadi. The Zadi is the 18th letter. What year are we in? 2018? 20 the head, 18 the Zadok. The Zadi is the letter of righteousness. 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 His righteousness. When they enter in the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen. A place of holy peace, rest, life, anointing, the flowing oil. The oil would flow, the lampstand never went out, the oil just kept flowing, didn't it? Supernaturally just kept flowing. And no wool shall come upon them, nothing, no work of the flesh, there'll be no sweat of their own. Wow. I mean, it's like, this is the way Adam was created originally. And then after he sinned, what? The thistles and the thorns came, and he had to work, had to live by the sweat of his brow. But here, there's no sweat on the brow. It's just holiness unto the Lord on the brow, who the eye is sanctified to see as God sees, to see him. While they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. Verse 18, righteousness. See, linen is the garment of righteousness. Robes of righteousness, linen. The holy ephod was made out of linen. That's the inner garments. The garments for the inner. The deeper, the closer, the more holy, the sacred, secret, in the secret place. You gotta wear the inner linen. The linen is for the inner. Everything else is stripped off. You're just in your underwear before him. And it's so good. Because he covers you. You know, they weren't allowed to even, they had to take those garments off before they left the holy place. Those garments weren't even allowed outside of that place. People weren't allowed to see it. They shall have linen bonnets upon their heads. Wow. Talking about holy covering. And shall have linen breeches upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. Verse 19. I'm going to prophesy this is going to happen in the year 19. And when they go forth into the other court, or the outer, even into the outer court, to the people that shall put off their garments where they ministered and laid them in the holy chambers. So you can't give your pearls before swine. You can't share everything with everybody. They all don't get it. Yeah, we were kind of foolish in some things in the beginning. You know, some things you just got to keep to yourself for a while. They ministered and laid them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments. They shall not sanctify the people with their garments. So that's a whole